Bushwick is a working-class neighborhood in the northern part of the New York City borough of Brooklyn. The neighborhood has historically been predominantly Hispanic. The neighborhood, formerly Brooklyn's 18th ward, is now part of Brooklyn Community Board 4. It is policed by the NYPD's 83rd Precinct and is represented in the New York City Council as part of Districts 34 and 37. Bushwick shares a border with Ridgewood, Queens, to the northeast, and is bound by the Brooklyn neighborhoods of Williamsburg to the northwest, East New York and the cemeteries of Highland Park to the southeast, Brownsville to the south and Bedford-Stuyvesant to the southwest. It is served by zip codes 11,206, 11,207, 11,221, and 11,237. Bushwick was once an independent town and has undergone various territorial changes throughout its history. Boundaries. Neighborhoods in New York do not have official boundaries. Informal boundaries are often contested, and this has been the case with Bushwick. However, the boundaries of Bushwick are often given as those of Brooklyn Community Board 4, which is delineated by Flushing Avenue on the north, Broadway on the southwest, the border with Queens to the northeast, and the Cemetery of the Evergreens on the southeast. The industrial area north of Flushing Avenue, east of Bushwick Avenue, and south of Grand Street is also commonly included in Bushwick, occasionally with the modifier Industrial Bushwick. Statistics. Demographics. Bushwick's population in 2010 was 129,239. 38.9% of that population was foreign-born. Though an ethnic neighborhood, Bushwick's population is, for a New York City neighborhood, relatively heterogeneous, scoring a 0.5 on the Furman Center's Racial Diversity Index, making it the city's 35th most diverse neighborhood in 2007. Most residents are Latinos from the Caribbean island of Puerto Rico and from the Dominican Republic, but more recent years have seen an increase in native-born Americans as well as other Latino groups, particularly immigrants from Mexico and El Salvador. In 2008, the neighborhood's median household income was $28,802. 32% of the population falls under the poverty line, making Bushwick the 7th most impoverished neighborhood in New York City. Over 75% of children in the neighborhood are born in poverty. Only 40.3% of students in Bushwick read at grade level, making it the 49th most literate neighborhood in the city in 2007. 58.2% of students do math at grade level in Bushwick, 41st in the city. In 2007, Bushwick averaged 25 felonies per 1,000 persons, making it the 25th most felonious of the city's 55 community districts. Bushwick is the largest hub of Brooklyn's Hispanic American community, although Sunset Park is also very large. Like other neighborhoods in New York City, Bushwick's Hispanic population is mainly Puerto Rican and Dominican, with a sizable South American population as well, as nearly 70% of Bushwick's population is Hispanic. Residents have created many businesses to support the various national and distinct traditions in food and other items. The neighborhood's major commercial streets are Knickerbocker Avenue, Myrtle Avenue, Wyckoff Avenue, and Broadway. Bushwick North. Based on data from the 2010 United States Census, the population of Bushwick North was 57,138, an increase of 1,045 from the 56,093 counted in 2000. covering an area of 570.78 acres. The neighborhood had a population density of 100.1 inhabitants per acre. The racial makeup of the neighborhood was 10.7% white, 9.7% African American, 0.1% Native American, 6.0% Asian, 0.0% Pacific Islander, 0.7% from other races, and 1.0% from two or more races. Hispanic or Latino of any race were 71.8% of the population. Bushwick South. Based on data from the 2010 United States Census, the population of Bushwick South was 72,101, an increase of 7,484 from the 64,617 counted in 2000. Covering an area of 923.64 acres. The neighborhood had a population density of 78.1 inhabitants per acre. The racial makeup of the neighborhood was 9.5% white, 28.1% African American, 0.2% Native American, 2.4% Asian, 0.0% Pacific Islander, 0.4% from other races, and 1.1% from two or more races. Hispanic or Latino of any race were 58.3% of the population. Puerto Rican and Dominican community. As mentioned in the section before, Bushwick as well as neighboring East New York are the center for the Hispanic community in Brooklyn. This history dates back to the post-World War II period, when at the time, Bushwick was still a predominantly Irish and Italian-American community. When the Great Migration of Puerto Ricans led to the growth of enclaves in Brooklyn, East Harlem, the Upper West Side and the Bronx. Originally, Puerto Ricans were located in neighboring Williamsburg, also known as Los Sure's, due to the proximity to jobs at the now-defunct Domino Sugar Refinery as well as the Brooklyn Navy Yard, but expanded their enclave further into Brooklyn. The sounds of salsa, corner bodegas and Latin cuisine proliferate the dynamic of the Bushwick community. It is the largest concentration of Hispanic Americans in the entire borough, followed closely behind by Sunset Park. Politically, Bushwick is part of New York's 7th Congressional District and is represented in Congress by Puerto Rican-born Nydia Velázquez, whose office is in neighboring Williamsburg as well as in downtown Brooklyn. Nydia Velázquez was the very first woman of Hispanic and Puerto Rican descent to be ever elected to the United States Congress. Bushwick was the birthplace of Rosie Perez, of Puerto Rican descent, best known for her role in Living Color and On The View, as well as for making her own documentary Yo Soy Boricua, Part 2 Los Cepos. Rosie Perez as well as Jackie Gleason have their faces painted in a mural at the NYPD's 83rd Precinct in Bushwick. Bushwick is also the childhood home of Hollywood actor Rick Gonzalez. The Williamsburg and Bushwick communities are home to their own local Puerto Rican Day Parade. The parade board usually meets at the Oricova Social Club, located off Myrtle Avenue. A popular place with the Hispanic community is La Isla Restaurant, located off Myrtle Avenue and Knickerbocker, where Puerto Rican and Dominican cuisine and flavors keep the restaurant packed at all hours of the day. On the corner of Broadway, Flushing Avenue and Graham Avenue, where Bushwick, Williamsburg and Bedford-Stuyvesant meet, in the shadow of Woodhull Medical Center, Graham Avenue becomes the Avenue of Puerto Rico. Located here is a campus of Boricua College and a branch of Puerto Rico-based Popular Community Bank. This territory is disputed with local residents claiming that it falls within Bushwick itself, while others claim that it is in fact Williamsburg. Make the Road New York, a Latino community group, also has a chapter in the neighborhood. So important is the activism of Latinos in the community that in 2016, presidential candidate Bernie Sanders campaigned in Bushwick in order to win over Hispanic votes. Furthermore, a web show, East Willoughby, was created to display the struggles of the local Latino community. Another infamous spot is the Kikiriki Vivero, located on Myrtle Avenue, a Puerto Rican-style butcher shop that sells live poultry, and is notable for its multicolor neon light signs. In both the New York State Senate and City Council, Bushwick is represented by Latinos. Martin Dillon of Puerto Rican descent in the state Senate, and Antonio Reynazo of Dominican-American descent in City Council. In addition to this, Diana Reyna, who formerly represented the area in City Council, went on to become Deputy Borough President of Brooklyn, under Eric Adams. Housing. Bushwick's diverse housing stock includes 6 family apartment buildings and 2 and 3 family townhouses. The median age of the housing stock is 76 years. Over 91% of housing units are within a quarter mile of a park, and over 97% of housing units are within half a mile of a subway. Bushwick is also home to many public housing projects that house many lower-income residents and are run by the New York City Housing Authority, including the Bushwick Houses, Hope Gardens, which has many subsections, as well as Borinquen Plaza, the Palmetto Gardens, and Bushwick 2, just to name a couple. Median rent in 2007 was $795, the 40th highest in the city. About 1 in 6 rental units is subsidized, and greater than 1 in 3 units is rent-regulated. 4% of renters live in severely overcrowded conditions. Vacant land fills 4.1% of Bushwick, rating it the 21st most vacant neighborhood in the city. In 2007, the neighborhood had an 18.7% home ownership rate, though roughly 1 in 20 owners of 1 to 4 unit buildings received a notice of foreclosure. Between 1990 and 2014, Bushwick has seen a 44% increase in average rent costs, the 4th highest rise in New York City.